in 10 words or less, talk about the USAW warm-up setup. So I have prepared 2 sentences of 10 words. The first is, why would you think that was a good idea, bro? And the second is, a good idea but executed so poorly that it hurts. And I think that's actually where I stand. Actually think it's a good idea. Like the motivation behind it, assuming it wasn't like we couldn't fit it in the hall, which you guys told me that's not true because you've been there and it's a massive hall. Assuming the motivation was let's make it more enjoyable, great idea, but executed in a way that's almost embarrassing.
Yeah, agreed.
Do either of you want to put forward a 10-word or less haiku for this? Oh, USAW.
No, I think that was...
You hurt me so bad.
I think that was pretty in alignment with what I think.
Okay.
I just wonder if people are actually interested. This is not 10 words. I just wonder if people are actually interested in seeing the back room manifest itself. I don't know how that's the case at a nationals. At a nationals?
At a nationals, I'm not that bothered. But like in general, I want to see the back room. They just did it in the wrong way. I don't want to see it with my eyes next to the platform. I just want to be able to see it on a screen somewhere.
So what about having no backdrop? You have the competition platform, no backdrop, and then the warm-up platforms are behind it. Because it's basically the idea, right?
But also ridiculous because the athletes want a gap between them and the like a barrier between them and the platform so that they don't see what's going on. And also, you can't see what's going on in the back room, and if even in that situation, unless you're incredibly high up, which is it's just like we don't need to see it with our eyes there. It's just got to be on a screen. That's all.
Right. That's right.
You don't have to do anything clever. Just put a camera there and hook up a feed.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like that's just like the back room is like the whole point of like segregating the athlete, the competitor from the back room is to like showcase this one person and the battle in the sport. If you're looking to the side and watching somebody warm up with weights that are bigger than the person on the platform is lifting, it's just kind of like, it also looks so bad. The back room doesn't look good. Like present it like it's.
It looks great at a major international meet, where they got the space for it, but it's just not like that.
Yeah, I think to your point about John North, one thing we do know is
you have to be aware that people weren't listening to you yesterday, so they have absolutely no idea where that just came from. No one has made a point about John North today.
Okay, John North is warming up, missing a lot of lifts, and I think the problem, there's a point there where there needs to be this period of building anticipation, building excitement, and if you're watching everything unfold, there's no excitement, there's no anticipation. It's like, okay, they've missed every lift, they're going to go miss it on the platform, or okay, they're like Max said, they're obviously snatching way more, so this lift doesn't matter. And I think with anything that kind of comes to a point or comes to a head, there needs to be a buildup. And how do you create that buildup? It's not by having it all on display all the time at the same time, right?
I have an idea. Okay, so new idea. Where people are struggling with the idea that there's no curtain. What if all of the people warming up were required to wear a burqa? Then we wouldn't know who's who. So you're watching and you're like, holy shit, that person just snatched 125 kilos. Like,
that actually would add to,
you don't know.
When you first started saying that, I was like, oh great, thanks Max. I was thinking about putting this clip on YouTube and now it's too feisty, but as you said it actually increases the anticipation because you're like, this person is missing, and you're like, who is this? And then they take it off, and it's Rastami.
Who is that?
Or, or like, wow, this person looks great. Like, I wonder who it's going to be. And then they come out, and you're like, wow, I knew it was Lasha, and it was. I knew no one else was going to snatch 210.
I thought it might be Lasha.
And I was right. Brilliant. Yeah.
And the other thing, Daniel Godelli, he would go out to the platform, and then like a magic trick, the burqa would just collapse to the platform. He'd be
like
gone.
Voldemort.
Just poof.
That's brilliant. That's really funny. Someone's got to try it. Okay, so the next one was, what is the most underrated lifting nation? Brackets, it's not the UK, Seb. Although I will say that the UK women are actually pretty underrated. Any thoughts? I mean, at the moment, the most underrated is Bulgaria, because everyone thinks that Bulgaria is no good, but they're all of a sudden they're very good. Thanks, Josh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would say on the full world international, they're not underrated in some ways because they won the world championships last time. But South Korea are just so good. They're so good, and they don't have anyone who's like that household. They don't have a Lou or a Toma, but they're just so consistently good. They just rack up medals in every category, and they move so nicely. For me, I'm gonna say Korea. Final answer.
Yeah, that's tough. Underrated is so hard because everyone's like so focused on everybody, right? You kind of get an idea where everyone stands
exactly where they deserve to stand based on where they came. So it's not like a subjective rating. It's like, but
yeah. I would say that's probably pretty good. That's a pretty good answer.
Maybe
South Korea.
Colombia's very good, although they may have just lost one of their best lifters. Again, that's for another time.
Yeah.
Well, and I would be interested more so on flipping that question to see who's the most overrated.
Oh, Georgia.
Who's the most overrated country?
Maybe Georgia.
Georgia,
because they are really good. Like they always get a gold, and then they have all these other lifters who people know of, but they don't often actually. None of the others really ever get a gold. And in fact, a lot of the thanks, Josh. Yeah. I'm just every time you say that's right, I'm going to thank you. A lot of the lighter lifters who could win often end up placing 4th or 5th. So I love Georgia, but I wonder if they're overrated.
You could almost make that same argument for Italy.
Yeah.
Ooh.
There's a lot of hype. There's a lot of hype around Italy, and not that they're not good, but they've only got one guy. Like when he really stands out, they have other good lifters, but like they're not. Georgia at least has people fighting for medals in basically every. Almost all the sessions they're in the top.
That's a good. That's good.
Most overrated.
Well, as you mentioned with the 55 session that just went up on YouTube last night or yesterday, which was great, by the way, it was an awesome video. You said that none of those lifts would have really been that impressive outside of the context of the immediate battle.
Yeah. Well, I didn't say they wouldn't be impressive, but it's like you could go to a national championships in several countries and probably see better lifting. I think maybe even we were talking about yesterday when I said that. I think we were talking about the 49s. And I think we were referring to the USA's 49s, where like they just happen to have so many women in the USA doing like 80, 100 at 49, which is crazy. And we didn't get that really.
Yeah.
Like what was the heaviest clean and jerk at Europeans? Like 92 or something. Like that's barely more than Jordan can snatch. It's crazy. And if they were competing against the best athletes in Asia, they would be out snatching their clean and jerks. So it was a great competition, but it just it was just off on the world level.
So most countries have a few like superstars that tend to kind of taint the perception of the team. Right. What are the countries besides China, obviously, who have just an absolutely stacked roster, like the most impressive team from top to bottom?
I would say.
You know what? Iran.
Tough. Bulgaria has a pretty solid. Yeah.
Bulgaria had like in every category they had someone, right?
The people they were in the categories they were in, they were very good. It's funny too because like you have like a team like Armenia, it's very much like that. There's no major standout like holy shit, this guy's the best ever, right? There's some very good ones, right? But they have they always have guys that are like right in those top 5 fighting in that, but they don't have like a Lasha. They don't have a superstar or a Lou or something. They'd be guys that are sort of right there, but not.
Like he's got the world record in the total, but he's not even. He's not even getting silver anymore because of the 2 Uzbeks.
Yeah.
So, that's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bulgaria's a good shout. They've just got a lot of people medaling. Iran have got a lot of people who you just don't think of, who just end up turning up and getting medals in like that 102, 109 category. They seem to change every couple of years, but they're always doing well. They had that new 81 at Worlds who hit a 204 clean and jerk, which is enormous, and like no one really mentioned it. But 204, if Lou had hit that, we'd have all been talking about it. But like, that's a massive lift.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
And then best and worst music for training, brackets, disco will always reign supreme. Discotheque is the GOAT if you're training, obviously.